Hi everyone, I hope you are doing well. Abbas is here. We are going to talk about another chapter of active reading number 2 and try to paraphrase it together. Today we are going to talk about Unit 1, Chapter 2. If you pay attention to the title, it is saying, "Oh no, another test." Maybe most of us don't like taking a test because normally it puts us in a very stressful situation. But today we are going to see if everyone has the same experience or no, and if we can do something about it or not. Look at here, it is saying that we need to think about the last test that we took. Was it a good experience or a bad experience? And also, how much of what we had learned for that test we still remember? Most of the time we just study for a test, especially some big tests, but we don't actually remember what we have learned for that test after a very short period of time. For example, I remember when I studied for my IELTS exam, I remembered a lot of words and I learned a lot of grammatical structures. But after some months, maybe I forgot most of them because I didn't use them anymore. This is exactly what we are going to talk about in this unit. Many people take tests actually to pass a course that they have participated in, or maybe get a promotion in their own job. But they mostly forget the information immediately after they take the test. So it is not something that stays in your mind forever. It is something just for a simple test, nothing more. And also, as I told you before, this is especially the case, it might happen actually, for those who are taking some international tests, especially English tests like IELTS and TOEFL. Maybe your job has another test which is specialized for you and your major that you will see exactly the same problem in you and the information that you remember. Let's go on. Um, these tests, sorry, these tests that we take usually involve multiple choice questions. I mean, they might have three options or sometimes four options, and we have to choose from these options that we are given. So maybe some people just study in a way that they can only answer according to the options that they see. I don't know. People usually don't study to learn something for these tests. They usually study to increase their test score only. So maybe sometimes they use some tricks or techniques to increase their test score only, not to learn something, not to actually learn something. In fact, many educators, teachers, or professors, those people who are working in the education field, these are called educators, are divided into two groups according to these types of tests. They want to see if these tests really work or they are really effective to assess, to evaluate, to understand somebody's abilities or no. Maybe these tests can be good option for them to understand the person's qualities or not. The first group are those who support such tests, and they say that this is the only way for educators and also for employers to understand about people's abilities, compare them, and choose the best person. And they say that there is no other way. Or let me add something which is not here. Or maybe they think that if they want to have other types of tests, it is maybe time consuming, it takes a lot of time, or it is too expensive to apply. Maybe they need to gather many people in one place and take some other tests and they understand their qualities. So it is somehow not efficient for these educators, teachers, professors, or even employers to apply such tests. However, there is another group who say that we should try to change this system. This system doesn't work very efficiently, and we have to reform this system. These reformers think that the standard tests aren't the best way to assess people's abilities. They don't say that they are bad, they are saying that they are not the only how can I put it, the only way of assessing somebody's abilities, or they are not the best way. They are only one option. So they are not 100% in favor of those tests. These reformers also believe that we might have some intelligent people who are not good at test taking. Maybe, for example, they get anxious before the exam and it will negatively affect their performance in the test. You see, negatively affect their performance on the test. And also, in this way, if we just have one kind of standard test, we might lose these people, which one day we might understand they were precious, they were so valuable for our system. But because of these non standard or even standard tests, we have lost them. And also, many of these intelligent people can use their knowledge, but they cannot memorize everything. They cannot memorize every single fact. But maybe these multiple choice questions are only and only based on the memorization of some special facts. Okay? So if I cannot memorize one fact, maybe I cannot pass the exam and maybe I will lose the job. But another person with only a little better memory and memorizing some special facts can do well uh, on the exam and can get the job. So it is not fair, maybe. Multiple choice tests cannot always tell what people have learned because maybe I haven't learned something, I have actually memorized something, or maybe there is another person who knows how to take a test. They know some test taking techniques. They say that, okay, if the tests start with these words, maybe I can choose these options. There are some tricks that maybe some of us know. So, based on the score of this exam, we cannot understand if somebody is really knowledgeable, really qualified, or not. And also, another important point, we are not 100% sure if these people can apply that knowledge in the future. Maybe they are not able to use the knowledge that we are testing. And maybe in the future, we see that this person is not knowledgeable. They only have a good memory for some facts, just this. Let's go on. These reformers also believe that there are some other types of evaluations. Maybe we can use these to actually achieve better results, and we can understand who really is qualified for a job or a study position even. The tests that these reformers mention contain a mix of written and spoken questions that they might give a more complete assessment of what the person is capable of. It means that maybe we have only the written exam, but one person is much better in their spoken abilities. So we may lose this person. But if we mix spoken with written, how can I put it, tests, spoken with written tests together, it is more probable to find a better person for the job or for the study position that we want to attract people. Okay, these reformers somehow, from my point of view, are right. In this way, they can use better things. Because of that, let me tell you something. Because of that, many standard tests, even in English, like IELTS and TOEFL, try very hard to have both written exams and spoken exams. Okay, because they want to maximize their level of validity. They want to maximize their level of reliability. Another thing that is mentioned here is having a portfolio. You know that portfolio is a collection of work that someone has done throughout a course, not just on one exam, maybe throughout a course, maybe throughout a semester at university, okay, or at high school. In this way, we can understand if this person is really knowledgeable based on different works or projects that this person has done, or no, they are just a kind of person who has studied for one night only. It can give us, a better understanding of that students, or that how can I put it, that university student uh, who has applied for a job. There is another kind of test that most of the employers take in order to understand if the person whom they want to employ in their company has can have interaction with other people or not. And this is called group interviews. In these group interviews, many people are interviewed at the same time. And in this way, we can see that if someone is capable of interacting with other people or not. And many people will have the chance to go for the next level, or maybe some individual interviews. So these two ways of testing people for their abilities are suggested by the reformers. Number one was having a portfolio, and number two was group interviews. Let's move on. There are some institutions, educational institutions, such as I'm not sure about the pronunciation, Montessori, and also Waldorf schools, that even they don't focus on education as a testing system. They believe that in their schools, the students should be relaxed and the classrooms should be free from any kind of stress. And in this way, they will motivate students to learn better from each other because they are not under pressure, and the teachers don't make them anxious because of the tests, or, for example, having a kind of strict evaluation process. They only have time together to learn from each other. And also, they can learn from their teachers. But something that it is saying here is that they can learn from each other as much as they can learn from teachers. So it is comparing learning from other students and learning from teachers. It is saying that they can be the same somehow. And also, some of these schools even let students choose what they study. It is very interesting. They don't force students to study only some special subjects. They give them enough freedom to choose what they really love and they like to study. Let's go further. In these schools and in these educational institutes, teachers create activities that are assigned to let students know, somehow show their abilities. So they give them enough opportunities to show their abilities and also their knowledge in a specific subject. For example, they give them enough space for testing some experiments and see if they are interested in different types of science or not. Or even they can have I don't know, they can have room for showing that if they are interested in literature or not. In these schools, um, sorry, in these schools, the focus is on learning by experiencing, not just learning facts and memorizing some sentences from special books. They learn through experiencing, and also they learn through doing things. Let me tell you something. They learn through uh, hands-on experiences. Hands hyphen on experiences. It means that they do something. Hands are usually actually on the project. They do something by their hands and they learn something. And also, some people call it a kind of discovery learning. They do something, they come to a conclusion, and they discover some rules about the things that they are learning. Um, Fortunately or unfortunately, the debate, the discussion, the arguments about the testing still continues, and the teachers or educators have not understood, they haven't come to an agreement about a perfect method of evaluating learning. They don't know that if 100% they should go for standard tests, or no, they should go for some portfolio group interviews or other things that we learned here, just like, for example, giving students enough freedom to choose what they like to do and learn. Maybe one day it happens that we, all of us, or all the educators, come to an agreement that this will be the first, I'm sorry, this will be the best way of learning something and also evaluating somebody's abilities. But until that day comes, we have to use these old tests, and also these methods will be on the market to evaluate somebody's abilities. And until that day, that's another method of checking somebody's understanding and abilities. We have to take tests, and also these tests will play an important role in all of our lives. So we have to study, we have no other choice. We have to study and we have to be hopeful. Maybe one day they change the way of, how can I put it, assessing people's abilities. Thank you so much, everyone. And I'm really glad that you actually paid enough attention, and thank you for your kindness. If you liked the video, please subscribe for more. I'm trying to do my best to upload one video for each chapter of this book, and please comment your thoughts if there are any. Thank you so much. Bye.